Hey, homestead family. I just got attacked by the turkey this morning trying to feed him. He doesn't like me. So we got an awesome rain last night. And I'm out here just fed the chickens and the turkeys and looking over the garden, and everything looks great. I'll be back this afternoon to give you a full tour. Okay, so the promised garden tour for the day. The first thing that I noticed, first of all, don't you just love it when God waters your garden versus you watering your garden? I don't know, it just seems to come to life that way. But the first thing we're gonna do is we notice some of the tomatoes plants are laying over, so we're gonna tie those up. So this is what we're using to tie up. I know there are a lot of different ways to tie your tomato plants up, but this is like a flexible, real softly covered flexible wire, and we've just cut a little piece off. And Mr. Homestead has like attached it here, and we're sort of gonna just pull it up and attach to the wire here.
Probably cut too much off, but at least it'll keep it going and make it grow.
So let me show you how low this one was laying, because this other one over here is pretty much the same. You see how it's just kind of like the stalk here has just bent over, and so that needs to be pulled back up. So
we're gonna go ahead and pull these wire off and cut them and strap them up to the fence, the cattle panel, and when we get done we'll show you what the finished product looks like.
Okay. So it's probably about time to go back and prune these lower branches again. I wanted to get the stalks a little bit thicker before I did that, and they're pretty significant tomato stalks there. So I may come back. There's a sucker right there that didn't get pulled off. That sucker right there. That's like a constant battle, is finding those suckers. And see that right there where that little one is growing in between the two? Those will suck the life out of your tomatoes. So it's like you constantly go through and pick those off. But that's where the garden,
Labor of love.
The tomato garden stands right now. So we've got lots of blooms starting to come on there, And I've debated whether the plants are large enough to have the blooms already, if I should be pulling the blooms, but I know some people do that, but I just don't have the heart to do that. So I may regret it later, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So, but yeah, the rain that we had last night does wonders for the garden. So these are our, what are these? Beefsteak on this side, and Roma tomatoes on this side, and then over here are
Jet stars.
all jet stars. And something else we did this week is we went through and pulled the dirt away from the onions because they were a little bit too covered up. And onions, from what we've learned, like to grow above the ground. So to get good, nice sized bulbs, you have to pull the dirt away from it. We'll probably come back and do this again later, but like this one's starting to get a nice little bulb down there. So they're coming along. This is a good sized onion right here that the dirt needs to be pulled away from. I thought that the hay for the tomatoes was a good idea, and it is as far as holding moisture in the ground, but sure is a lot of grass growing from that hay.
You know, I would like to know if anybody uses anything besides hay, whether they use like mulch or something like that, because we put this hay in there and we've got a lot of grass growing from that. So if anybody's using anything else that they're successful with and they don't have a lot of weeds, just comment to us and let us know, because we would love to come up with something, because all these little leaves, all these little this grass, it's just
that the dog likes to eat.
Yeah, so you people that watch us, this is what we deal with all the time. So I pull the weeds and then watch my dog. So then he's gonna come back to me and he's gonna see me pull some more and he's gonna chase it. This is what we deal with all the time.
He consumes our weeds for us, I guess. So that's the tomatoes. Here's some of the marigolds that are still doing well. And I just keep pulling these old dried up
Danny, what's up, buddy?
blooms off and dropping the seeds back on the ground again, hoping they will come back again. And so here's this one.
You do, it's my bad.
They're doing really well.
Yeah, we had the COVID.
All right, so here's our next bed, and these are right here by the trellis are nasturtiums, and I'm not sure if these are the kind that will climb. I'm hoping so, but if not, they'll be pretty right here anyway. And then we have our cucumbers, 3 rows of cucumbers, and we have pickling cucumbers, market more cucumbers, and long green cucumbers. So I'm excited about this, but we were talking the other day that at one point when we first decided to do cucumbers, I was going to use our old tomato baskets to support the cucumber vines, and because we got so many, we don't have enough tomato baskets, plus I don't think they would fit that way. So I'm gonna have to come in between these 2 rows and in between these 2 rows and put some chicken wire with some small short T-posts and use that to trellis these cucumbers with. So that's what we're looking at right now, and looks like might have an onion coming up right there, because I planted onions out here too. That's not a grass, that's too thick for grass. That's an onion, I believe. This is grass. It needs to come up. So that's the cucumbers. And then over here are some more nasturtiums on this side of our cattle panel trellis that has a pie pan and wind chimes and all I can think of to hang on it to scare the birds away. So our bell pepper plants right here, we have green bell peppers, and then we have sweet bell peppers, like red, yellow, orange bell peppers. These are, I don't know what kind of peppers these are. They're either jalapenos or banana peppers. And these are either jalapenos or banana peppers. So, one or the other. Some of them are struggling a bit. Some of them have grown quite nicely. And some of them aren't doing much. This one looks pretty good and healthy. I was a little concerned. These on this end, that one's struggling. I don't know unless it's the mix of the soil that has, you know, it's like unevenly mixed and some has a little more nutrients than others. And that's why the differences. But that's our peppers. The next bed over here, we have our purple hull peas, which is our family's favorite. If you remember from last year, we had a whole bed of purple hull peas. This year we decided to double our bed. So I've planted these, and I was short a few on this side. So I'll be making up for that in the next, I've already got more seedlings coming up. So we'll make up for that right there, that's blank. And then over here, the English peas are about done. We're still getting there. We're still getting some good pods, but there's a lot of dried ones too. So we're about ready to pull these up and plant purple hulls here. And then our leeks are coming along real well. They're about ready to pull up as well. So we got a good bed of leeks. So these onions and leeks that are lining the beds are there for insect control. That's our purpose in these smelly plants, which are good. We need them for seasoning anyway, but if we companion plant them correctly, they will keep or discourage. So are the marigolds over there, to discourage pests. And so here we have our squash. And my husband was commenting the other day, I don't know if you can see it much now, but like he was a little worried that these were dying off and they looked a little yellow, and I noticed that. The only ones that were yellow were these cotyledon leaves that come from the seed, and their only purpose is to germinate the plant and get it going. If you'll notice, let me see if I can show you over here. This is one that's got one left still. This is a cotyledon leaf. See the difference in that leaf and this cucumber leaf? This is a true leaf. So these aren't going to stay on the plants. These are true leaves that will actually become part of the plant. So don't worry if you see these getting yellow and dying off. That's what they're supposed to do. They've served their purpose, and now the plant is giving all its energy to the growth of the plant. So we've got quite a few squash coming along, and we're excited about that. On this trellis, on this trellis, we have, these are loofah gourds seeds that we've planted. Thanks to Mountain Traditions Homestead, sent us some last year. I planted about half of what they sent me. No, I take that back. I planted all that they sent me. And then from the seeds that I got from the loofah gourds that we grew, we saved and we planted some more. So we've got quite a few, a little more on this side than I have on the other side. The main thing that I learned about doing the loofah gourds is some plants you just plant directly in potting soil, keep it moist and let it grow. And then others, loofah gourds, need to soak in water for 24 hours before you actually put them in potting soil. So these I direct sowed though. I soaked them for 24 hours and then I put them in the ground here. And this is where they are. They will climb, and these being on both sides of the trellis, we'll fill that trellis up with loofah gourds. We have carrots. Here's our rogue lettuce that I don't have the heart to pull up. And there's one stalk of black seed lettuce that has actually flowered and seeded. And so carrots here. I'm going to plant the rest of this in carrots and onions. But I think I'm going to wait a little while to get behind this so we don't get everything in one time. And I know a lot of people don't thin their carrots, and I could just take more time and sow them individually and not have to thin them. But oh my goodness, carrot seeds are so tiny that it was easier for me to just plant them and then come back and thin them out later. So that's what I'll be doing. So that's our carrots and onions. Onions aren't doing so well. I don't see them coming through. So, oh no, that's a grass. That's not an onion. So that's our garden in the raised beds. And then here's our update on our grapevines. We have a Catawba grape and a muscadine grape right here. And we bought this last year and it completely dies back in the winter, and it has come back out so far, and I've got one that's growing all the way up and over the trellis here. And then on this side we have a Concord grape that is also coming up, and it's making its way up. Oh, and we also noticed, my husband noticed, look at this. Look at that. Teeny tiny little grapes. So hopefully soon we will have grapes to pick and make some jelly and all the good stuff. Here's our 2 banana plants that the winter, you know, they died back a lot, got really brown this winter. I tried protecting them as much as I could, but they survived and they're coming back out. And I don't know how long it'll take or how big they need to get before we get bananas from them, but we're excited about them. Excited to see what happens. And here's also a elderberry bush. Hey, I've heard rumors that for an elderberry bush to produce berries, you need 2 to be able to cross-pollinate with each other. If you know whether you do or not, drop a comment for me. I'd appreciate that as well. And then last but not least, let me show you the fig bush. Okay, so this fig bush has a story. It was originally planted when we first moved here. We planted it. Where did this fig bush come from, baby? Huh? Where did this fig bush come? We bought it. Okay, it was a bought plant, but we planted it up by next to the porch, the front porch, and we planted it right here. Well, the dogs kept jumping off the porch and brushing up against it and just going to the bathroom on it, and it was just not doing well. And I thought, we've got to get this fig bush out of the line of traffic and give it a fighting chance. So we moved it from here. Let me see if I can show you how far we are from there to there. And so it was, you know, a small plant, and I was on the riding lawnmower and forgot about it until it was too late. And it got cut down to a nub.
Mr. Homestead said, "Where's the fig bush at?"
And so he put logs around it after that time, so we could not run over it. And it struggled. It did better, but it still struggled. And until we actually dug the grass out from around it and put this mulch and this landscaping ring around it, to keep the grass from choking it out. It has really come out, and this is year 3, and being jumped on and broken by the dogs and cut and run over by the lawnmower. This is the best this fig bush has looked since we had it. So we're hopeful that it'll get a chance to actually grow like it should and produce some figs for us this year. So that is week 3 of our garden tour and all the progress that we're making. And we're excited to see what we get this year, what compared to last year and what we did. We went from, what did we have, 3 beds last year? 3 beds to 8 beds now. So we're excited about that and to see what we get from it. Plus a lot of peripheral things that we've planted around as well. So.
And you got to stay tuned because we've got a couple more beds we're going to be doing. Next couple of weeks we're going to get the boards. We've got the dirt.
We already have the seedlings going.
We got the seedlings. We've got to get some peat moss, and we're going to have 2 more beds, and then that will complete the beds. And then on the other side of the blueberries, we're going to the blackberries, I'm sorry, we're going to actually put a swing that we can set back and watch everything
let me show
grow.
you this. So right here beyond this bed and beyond that bed will be 2 more beds, and then over here, instead of another bed, this is where we're going to actually put like a swing so we can just sit and look out over our whole garden and enjoy it. Okay.
It's really exciting because for us, it's a vision that's actually coming true. Because when we first moved in here and we started talking about doing gardens, I know Miss Homestead mapped everything out. She says, can we do this? And we looked at the property. We knew what we could do here and we knew what we were capable of doing. So seeing it grow from
actually come to life.
Yeah. 2 beds to 3 beds to 8 beds, then to 10 beds, and then, you know, putting in the other things, the potatoes and stuff. It's fun. It makes you feel, you know, that you're actually growing something that the family can use.
Yeah. Let me show you the potatoes. I didn't show them the potatoes. So if you remember from last week's garden tour, the potatoes finally got their hay because there's no room for dirt. And so we're just waiting for them to produce. We're starting to see some yellow leaves, and I understand when the leaves start to turn yellow, that's when the potatoes are ready. So these 2 is just a waiting game now for us. And then over here is our later bucket of potatoes that I just added dirt to today. So we're about halfway with this bucket now. Just continue adding and it'll look like these eventually.
So we have all this that we've built, and God has blessed us with being able to do this, but we're also I don't know, Miss Homestead's told you, we've done some things out here for the wildlife, the deer. We've got some crab apples. I've got a white oak, which is probably going to be fully grown when I'm dead and gone because they grow really slow. But then we've got a lemon tree. I've got a peach tree that's doing really well. I have an apple tree, and that's a special apple tree. It's an Anna apple, and that's because that's for our granddaughter. Her name's Anna. And then we've got 2 plum trees over there, and I have 3 sawtooth oak trees. And the sawtooth oak trees are an early dropping acorn. They drop in September, which is normally archery season. Calm down, I'm not going to do any hunting. We love to watch them come out here. I hunt somewhere else in a lease that I pay, and I do ethical hunting. But to watch them to come to feed on the acorns, the white oaks, they love the white oaks. The crab apples they're going to eat. So we're trying to get the wildlife in here to see them. We love sitting on the back porch. We'd love to be sitting in our swing that we're going to have for our garden and have them come up here and start eating. So It's exciting. Everything's coming
It
together,
is.
and it's really
really
it's
is.
really fulfilling. We love what God is doing and allowing us to do, and we're enjoying it.
So with that, we're going to close and wish you all the best. And as always, do your best.
And let God do the rest.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.